So on our Teams page, you'll notice that there is a new week's channel. So if you click on the new week's channel, right, you'll see our attendance post where you can mark yourself in attendance for those extra credit points. And you will see that today we are doing page 1 of week 8 problems, questions 6 through 10. You have one Khan Academy practice, and you have the link to one video that you're supposed to watch as well. So let's take a look at page 1 of week 8 problems. So our assignments are always in the general tab. Right, here's week 8 problems. I want to be seeing what you guys see. And let's click on the reference material so we could look at the problems. And so it looks like page 1 is more of this completing the square stuff. Right? Remember that the second part I'm going to leave as optional, stating the vertex, right? Because we're not really doing much graphing here, so stating the vertex might be a little bit confusing. So we're doing problems 6 through 10, right? So we're pretty much doing the whole first problem. And we're going to do it pretty similar to how we were doing problems the other day. With the extra focus on these kind of trick problems, right? Usually we're supposed to have an x squared, an x, and a number. But you see, like in problem 6 and 7, right? There's only 2 terms. They're missing that third term. So let's take a look at how it's going to work out. So for problem 6, right, we have x squared plus 3, right? We have our x squared, we have our number, but we need an x squared, an x, and a number. So we're missing the x term in between, right? There's no x's, right? So in between we could say there are 0 x's. So we're going to have x squared plus 0x plus 3. Right? X squared plus 0x plus 3. And remember, we got to put the spot where we add and subtract before and after this 3. And now we're got to figure out what b is, right? A squared is x squared, so we know that a is x. But now what is b, right? Because we need to know what b squared is to put in this number and this number. So, right, so, well, we know that our 2ab is 0x. Right? So, we have 2xb, right? Because a is x, is 0x. Divide by 2x on both sides, make these guys cancel out. And we have b is going to be 0x divided by 2x is just 0. So now, right, if b is 0, then, right, we need to know what b squared is, because that's the number that we're going to put in the blank spots. Well, b squared, right, b is 0, so b squared is 0 squared, which is still 0. So we're going to add a 0 here and a 0 there. Right, so this one, x squared plus 0x plus 0, right, we want to write it like this, where a is x and b is 0. So it'll be x plus 0 squared. Right, and 3 minus 0 when we combine these is just 3. So this, right, is actually a trick problem, because this is the same thing as this, right? Because x plus 0 is just x. So it's just x squared plus 3. So you could just leave your answer like this. But I definitely recommend for you guys who have trouble graphing to write it out like this. Because then you'll know that the vertex is going to be at 0, 3. But we haven't been focusing too much on graphing, so I apologize if this concept is confusing. So for problem 7, Right, last time, now we have x squared minus 4x. So we have an x squared and an x. Last time we have an x squared and our constant. Okay, so now we're missing the constant. So we can add a 0 at the end. Okay, so we have x squared minus 4x plus 0. We need that blank spot of what we add and what we subtract. So moving on from here, right, our a squared is x squared, so a is x. Our 2ab is 4x. So, right, we're going to divide by 2x on both sides. To make these guys cancel out. How many times does 2x go into 4x? Twice, just 2. So if b is equal to 2, right, remember that this number right here, we need it to be b squared, right? Because that's what the last term is. So since b is 2, b squared is 2 squared, right? 2 times 2 is 4. So we're going to add 4 and subtract 4. So notice that the first 3 terms always makes up our perfect square trinomial, right? So now it's in this form, right? A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So we want to write it like a minus b squared. So the thing to remember is that these signs are always the same. If this is a plus, then this is a plus. If this is a minus, then this is a minus, right? So we see here that it's a minus, right? So we're going to have, it'll be a minus b, right? A is x, b is 2. So it'll be x minus 2 squared. And 0 minus 4 is minus 4. Right, so we always want to remember that the first 3 terms make us up our perfect square trinomial. We combine the last 2 terms for what we add on at the end. All right, so if you look at the problems, we did problems 6 and 7, 8 and 9 are normal, right? They both got the 3 terms, x squared, x constant, x squared, x constant. So I'm going to leave these problems for you guys to do, 8 and 9. So leave a little bit of space, and then we're going to get to problem 10. So for problem 10, right, not to mention problem 10 has this tricky fraction in there. So we have x squared and an x. Okay, so we're going to add 0 just like what we did last time. So we have x squared minus 1/3 x plus 0. We leave the space before and after the 0 for what we're going to be adding and taking away. So a squared is x squared, so a is x. So now we have our 2ab is going to be 1/3 x. Okay. Replace the a with the x because a is equal to x. So we could divide by 2x on both sides, right? Remember that dividing by 2x, like what we're doing on the left, is the same thing as multiplying by 1 over 2x, like what we're doing on the right. So, right, the x cancels out the x, and then we're left with 1 times 1 over 3 times 2. 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 2 is 6. So we have b is 1 over 6. We need to know what b squared is, because that's what we're going to put here, and then we're going to put it here. So if b is 1 over 6, then b squared is 1 over 6 squared, right, which is 1 over 36. The reason is because, right, 1 over 6 times 1 over 6 is going to be 1 times 1 over 6 times 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 6 is 36. So we went ahead and we added 1 over 36. We subtracted 1 over 36. So the first 3 terms makes up our perfect square trinomial, right? It'll be, right, this is a minus, right? So it'll be a minus b squared. So our a is x, our b is 1/6, so it'll be x minus 1/6 squared, and 0 minus 1 over 36 is minus 1 over 36. So remember that in addition to, you guys got to do problems 8 and 9, and then you have a Khan Academy practice to do as well, and a video that will provide you with more clarification.